I am from Argentina and I have moved to Denmark over 12 years ago, and I can say without a doubt that I am a changed man. It's said you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and by extension I would say also as well that you are the average of the 5.8 million people you share this country with. Today I want to go through how I changed specifically myself and what could be also in store for you if you're an expat moving into a city like Copenhagen. If you're new here, my name is Mario, and on this channel I help people living in Denmark to save money, invest well, and live a great life. Number 1 is the weather. This might sound strange to you, but before I moved to Denmark, I never really checked the weather, and definitely not daily. In Buenos Aires, my hometown, you don't really need to. Like, most days are sunny, there's definitely rain and so on, but no, they're very predictable. The temperature then is also consistent through the season, so it's warm in summer, it's nice in spring and autumn, and then it's cold in winter, but you don't really need to complicate it too much. Like, from one day to the other, normally it's pretty okay. And this couldn't be more different in Denmark, where like the weather app has been promoted to the top of my iPhone's home screen. I check it a few times a day, and it's again because the weather is changing and it's unpredictable. I even also check the temperature and rain chances per hour, and then many important decisions on, for example, what to wear, where to go out, and like if you should go to the office or work from home and so on. They can also be depending on the weather. So something to keep in mind. Number 2 is the humbleness. I came to Denmark with my head up high, and I had like this personal brand mentality of, hey, I'm amazing, look at me. I would boast my accomplishments, exaggerate my skills, and I have completely flipped on this now. I still have a very high self-esteem, but I am a lot more humble. Too much even, I would say sometimes. Because in Denmark, the way it works is that you're not better than anyone else. That's kind of the mentality they want to put you in here. It's called a jantelon. People here would go around saying, if someone would go up here saying like, hey, look, I'm so good and I have so much money, look at my job and so on, they would not be really popular, to say the least. Here is all about context. You even see it in the office. So, for example, I work in Maersk, which is a big company here, which, to my surprise, it's not really hierarchical. I mean, like the main, for example, I remember being in discussions where like the CEO would be there, or like very top senior people would be there, and they would just be chatting with us like normally. And I mean, it's not that it's so special, but if you come from a culture where it's more hierarchical, that would not really happen. I mean, here people are a lot more even, you would say. Number 3 is the career. So I work in Maersk in Copenhagen, as I said, and I worked in Carlsberg before. And if you asked me 10 years ago, like, I would have told you that working in a company, like what, that would be impossible. I was kind of this renegade growing up. I was wanting to live this digital nomad lifestyle and like this unconventional life, entrepreneur and so on. And I was dead set about working, at least in corporate in Argentina. I was like, no, that's never gonna happen. Then in Denmark, I kind of flipped, because in Denmark, corporate, working in a company, it's nice. You have a lot of the perks that you think like only Silicon Valley has. You actually, most of the companies have them here. So you get flexible work hours, you get a lot of holidays. In most of the workplaces you have canteens. In many companies as well you get extra perks, like some companies have massage. In Maersk we have a sailing club and some sport clubs. Again, there's a lot of things like this that make you be more open to going to the office than, for example, you would be in a place where you don't have any of this. Also, I would highlight that in Denmark you also have a lot of international companies doing interesting things, and that's very remarkable considering the size of the country. I mean, Denmark definitely punches above its weight on this. Number 4 is taxes. And taxes in Denmark are so expensive, it's just insane. So like, even if I would have the money, I just feel ripped off every single time I take a taxi here. Again, just to put it into perspective, like the 8 to 10 minute ride from my house to the airport can cost upwards of 300 krona, which is like well over 40 euros. The few times I take taxis in a year, that's kind of one of the top expenses for the family even, I would say. Hence here, I almost never take a taxi. Thankfully, you can just bike everywhere. I don't have a car either, but again, like the whole lifestyle that you would have in a city like Buenos Aires, like mine, that you would just be Uber everywhere or taxis and so on. Here it's a luxury. I mean, definitely not something for everyone. Number 5 is football. I watch a lot less football in Denmark versus my time in Argentina. So this comes through multiple reasons, I would say. And maybe the number one is that I have only one love, and that's my hometown team of Boca Juniors. I love football itself, but I just don't support or care about other teams. I would used to go to the stadium at least a couple of times a month in Argentina, but here in Europe, I would just not care less. But again, in Argentina, 80% of the conversations I would have with my friends in university or hanging out and so on would be somehow around football, or a lot of the discussions would be around football, and football is kind of this thing that permeates everything for everyone. And here in Denmark, I mean, yes, of course, you can talk about football with your friends, but at the end of the day, like, I can't care less about Manchester United or Liverpool or Manchester City or Real Madrid. I like watching the matches because I like football, but yeah, it's not gonna be the same as like those heated discussions back home. And then just two more things on this. Like the Danish commentators, when you watch a match on Danish TV, it's so boring. They basically don't speak, and it's not, again, engaging for me to watch football on the TV either, because like there's like just so boring, right? But I would say I have watched a lot more football now for the last year than before, because Argentina's world champions, and like how cool is that? And even though I'm not as intense as before watching football, this has, you know, plugged me in again into the football ecosystem. Number 6 is the outdoors. So I now spend a lot more time outdoors than back in Argentina. It's kind of counterintuitive considering the natural beauty that Argentina has and Denmark's, you know, terrible weather, but it likely goes in two ways. The first one is that in Denmark, you don't really take the outdoors for granted anymore. Like, it's nice day here in Denmark and you're like, okay, even if you don't feel like it, you likely want to go out and you would go to the park and so on. In Argentina, you know, it's never an issue, so you can always go out, and most of the times it's nice. Second is that in Copenhagen, at least, you also have beautiful parks all over the city. So it just comes to mind the Frederiksberg Park, and it's like just stunning, like the King's Garden, Fælledparken. Like you can even include Tivoli. It's in the middle of the city, and it's super nice. And again, like though you have beautiful parks in Buenos Aires, you know, they're not as, you know, 5-minute walk as a lot of the things are here. So again, that makes a difference, which like connects to point number 7, which is fitness. In Denmark, I started to work out a lot more. You kind of feel the pressure here because people look good. You know, the parks are always full of people jogging. Most people bike, and the gyms are like almost full. In South America, I would say people are also sporty. At least my social circle is, and we would do a lot of sports as well. But here it's just, you just see it a lot more. It's a lot more visible. You're walking around the city, you see people running all over the place. You go to the lakes, you see a lot of that. You're biking around the city. I mean, like I commute by bike. Everyone go by bike. So you see a lot more people being fit and having this kind of healthy lifestyle, which is again very inspiring and very good. I have seen it as a very positive change to me. Number 8 is meat. There's another thing I do a lot less in Denmark, and that is to eat meat. And this shouldn't come as a surprise because in Argentina we eat like a massive amount of meat. And for us, I mean, meat is beef. You know, we like number 1 or number 2 beef eaters per capita. And back home, I would say 2 out of 3 meals would be beef. And I mean, that's not the case here in Denmark. I still eat a decent amount of beef, but again, like the quality and the price just make a dent. And that means that I have eaten more chicken or fish and things like that. That again, in Argentina, maybe once a week you would eat chicken as like something else. But otherwise, again, beef would be the name of the game. For me, unlike taxes, I see taxes as a luxury. I find meat something that I like to spend like my money on as well. So I do still buy quite often like a nice chunks of meat and grill that on the grill in the balcony because again, that's nice. Number 9 is the structure. And if I could point to the biggest change I had over the last 10 years personally, is that I have become a very structured and like box type of person. I started to wake up early, to plan my days, to install good habits. Those kind of the pillars of like high performance, you know, I would say that happened definitely since I moved to Denmark. And I don't think this is specific of my move to Denmark. You know, there's something also on getting older and becoming more mature, and also the partner you decide to have as a, you know, family and so on. But definitely something I have considered myself lucky to have had the opportunity. And again, Denmark facilitates you to be structured in this way, with something as simple as having dinner at 5 to 6 p.m. when in South America you have it at 9:30 in the evening. Again, like by sleeping earlier, then you also can have time to wake up early and work on your own projects. This makes a difference, and it's great to have that opportunity, and I think it has been a great change for me. Then a few more last things. In Denmark, I started to dress up like a local. So back when I was in the US for a few months, like I was told I was dressing up like a European, whatever that means, but you know, funny. I also became open to and then got kids, and because in Denmark it feels less of a commitment here to again have kids. It's not as expensive, relatively speaking, and the work culture is very supportive for parents. You don't have to worry about safety, so there's a lot of boons to having kids here. And last, believe it or not, I became more okay with paying taxes. I still don't like it, of course, you know, I would have more money in my own pocket, but I went from blatantly just hating to pay my like 50% or whatever of my income in taxes to understanding the benefits it brings of social harmony, and you have a country that has low levels of inequality, no corruption, and again, like when the whole world is going crazy, this is nice. Though, as a last side note on this doesn't apply to the investment taxes, which I still think they're absolutely insane. And if you made this far through the video, you will love this video over here where I go through my top 100 things on why Denmark is the absolute best country.